What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. I told all of you in the last video that there was some hot stuff cooking up in the track making discords. Welcome to the Dog Pound, or the Lawrence Brother compound, whichever you want to refer to it as. This is JV's most recent creation, and I'm very lucky that I've got it a day early. Thank you for that YouTube privilege, and I suppose it works both ways. I get a track early, he gets a little bit of promotion via a YouTube video, and this is going to release on the track on Monday, I believe, so either the day you're watching this or the day after you're watching this. I have spun a couple of laps on each of these tracks. We've got the Sand Supercross, the Clay type Supercross. There is a turn track over in the distance, which I haven't actually played yet. We've got the motocross track in the background, and then we've got the go-kart track here. However, he said because of how broken the asphalt kind of terrain is in general in this game, it's more of a bonus than anything. It doesn't like ride particularly amazing, although I haven't tried it on a supermoto bike yet, but I'll leave that up to you guys. What we're going to be doing today is motocross, turn track, supercross 1, supercross 2. Let's get into it. If you've been putting off buying that new MX gear, or you're just looking for some new daily MX related clothing, then head on over to fxrracing.com. Code MXPR_Lins15 at checkout will give you 15% off all motocross and lifestyle products. This code is applicable to the European, Swedish and Norwegian websites, not Canada or the USA. And whilst I've got your attention, you may as well subscribe to the channel. It's just one click of a button and it puts a big old smile on my face. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. So as much as I'm absolutely itching to get back onto these two supercross tracks here, because they are absolutely amazing to ride, by the way. There's a few huge lines, like you can go quad in one of the sections, and just big like jump over tabletops and such, and really good fun. However, we're going to ease ourselves into it. We're going to bypass the go-kart track, or the shifter kart track, whichever you want to refer to it as, and we're going to make our way over here to the big boy himself. We are going over to the motocross track, and we're going to spin 1 or 2 laps and see how we feel, see what sort of a flow we get going around here. Map is now on as if it never left, because, you know, L YouTuber moment as always, and I don't say this lightly. Generally think this could be the new best overall compound in the entirety of the game, but I absolutely love it. I think in terms of like compounds as a whole, if you're talking about quality throughout the entire compound, I think the closest rival to it at the moment is probably his last one, which was the Baker's Factory. And this, of course, has a very similar vibe, being a Florida track itself. We've got the same sort of trees and such dotted around, and the old white sand. So it definitely fits the theme, as always. And, of course, it wouldn't be a JV track or creation without it looking incredible. I mean, I feel like it's a little bit unfair to him, because it's expected at this point. Like, if anybody else came out of the tracks that looked anywhere near as good as his ones do, we'd be singing praises all day long. But because it's him, we've got to a point now where we expect it, so it's not kind of shouted out quite as much. So I'm doing it. This track looks bloody incredible. It looks sexy. And it's one limb, again, that the people who are big into the screenshot or edit game, they're probably going to absolutely love, because I think you can put the camera anywhere around this whole place and have like a really nice looking picture. And one thing that I'm worried about trying to do this track justice, not just outside of the riding, is I don't know what to do for a thumbnail for this, because it's always hard when you're in a massive compound to get a good angle that kind of encapsulates everything. And I suppose the motocross track here, compared to the two supercross tracks, are way over in the distance. There's a decent like gap between them, so I don't think there's any way of really getting them all in the same picture. I'll work something out. I hope so. I mean, if you're watching this, there's 2 reasons that you are. Option A is that the title brought you in, which again I have no idea what that's going to be yet. Or option B, you like the look of the thumbnail. So either way, welcome. I hope you enjoy. I am a big fan of JV, as you guys know. I feel like the MX GP rounds that we got given it's one of them things that I don't know if it's ever going to get that good again. I'll say I believe, I don't want to kind of put words in people's mouths here or spread false rumours, but I'm 97.6% sure that JV is sticking around and doing next year's GP tracks too. So I'm very excited for that. It means we get another year of really good high quality tracks. Unfortunately, when the time comes that he does kind of call it quits, or he's just had enough of the game, there are going to be some really big shoes to fill. Like, I feel sorry for whoever has to try and like take over from that point onwards. And I think, do you remember all the drama that we had at the start of the aerial season, like where I was majorly hating on the tracks we were getting and the quality and looks of them as a whole? I think that's because I was
trying to compare them to the GP tracks a lot because that is the other main racing series that we had at the time, and I come to realise that that's not quite fair to do. In terms of height map and stuff, I think it's fair, but in terms of visuals, you can't put two and two together. I mean, JV does like visual stuff for his job, so he's got a good amount of practice. However, that's not the only thing that goes into making a fun track. Looks are only half the battle. It does have to ride and flow well too. This motocross track that I'm on now, oh, I apologise, that's not your Discord, that's mine in the background. I forgot to leave the channel that I'm in again. This motocross track right now, it's not a hard track at all. The jumps are a little bit on this. I mean, the scale overall, before I go into like jump size and stuff, he's said to me that in terms of scale, like he's obviously you take like a Google overlay of the general area and then you use that as your base and build upon it. He said he's actually scaled it up from 1 to 1. So the motocross track is 15% bigger than it is in real life, and the supercross tracks are 20% bigger than it is in real life. And which surprises me actually, because when I ride around them, the scaling does feel quite tight, especially on the supercross track. So I'm very, very glad he did upscale. Otherwise, I think it would be like maybe a little bit awkward to try and play. Right now, especially the supercross tracks, it's, I think technical is the right word without being like ridiculously difficult. It's one of them where you can't just hit like 180-degree berms 100 miles an hour and survive still. You know, you can't just crank the bike over and pray. You do have to like slow down a little bit, take your time, be really smooth on the power delivery, and I think, especially on 450s, being a main 450 rider, I don't like the idea of having tracks where you can just hit everything wide open on a 450. I feel like there needs to be a little bit of finesse involved, especially through rhythm sections in Supercross. You know, like in real life, all the 450 bikes, they have the power to be quadding here, there and everywhere. The reason that they don't a lot of the time is because they're real humans and there's consequences to crashing, like unlike we do in game where we can just send it and like not face any consequences. So I like when we have to check up a little bit on the 450s to try downsiding rhythms correctly, otherwise you're going to overjump and it's all going to go wrong. The lap times around the motocross track, they're about 2 minutes or so. One thing I will give you warning on for when you give it a go yourselves is the timing gates are very, very strict. I did have a couple of laps where I crashed and went off the track because I crashed, and then just in that small little time of me respawning and getting back onto the track itself, I must have missed a timing gate because the lap didn't count. However, the laps where I'm a good boy and I stay on track the entire time, we're all good. There's no problems at all. So that is a big old W. What I'm going to do is we want to finish this lap off, and then I'm going to keep you waiting because I do think the Supercross tracks are the best bit about this. I'm going to keep you waiting. We're going to do the turn track for a lap or two as well, which is going to be a new experience for me. So I hope I don't do it too bad. I hope I do it a little bit of justice. So in terms of like the terrain itself around this motocross track, the section I'm in now has sand like texture and grip. The other lighter bits that you see dotted around, they are normal soft soil. So them bits are nice and grippy. These slightly dark bits that you see here is sand traction. It's a nice mix of it here, there and everywhere. So there we go, there's a little lap. And one thing as well that I want to throw out, in terms of attention to detail, if I was to fly above the map, you'd get a better perspective than right here. It's just like the tyre tracks that go all over the place. Just the level of realism that we've got looks great. Like, it looks so, so good. And this bit of the track I'm here is like freshly graded, because if I was to go all the way down the other end of the track, if we keep going and going and going and going and going all the way over here, we've actually got the start gates. Now, where it's like a home compound, it's not really meant to accommodate 40 gates, so we have got a triple row here, and it does get quite narrow. But I don't really know anywhere else that you would have kind of tried to chuck it in. And I think this start might be used for each and every one of the tracks. They just turn a different direction, which itself is quite cool. Let's go. I actually don't know which way the start, or I don't know which way the turn track goes, which is a little... are they moving? They are moving. That's, again, little attention to detail. I didn't even notice that the first time round of playing this, so absolute W. I'm thinking... I think the track might go this way. Or does it? In case you're wondering, I'm looking at these track markers that are in the floor and looking at their angle of rotation to see if it helps at all. I'm going to go this way. JV, if I'm doing your track in the wrong direction, I really do apologise. I'm actually... 1 second. Right, I think I've done like a five-head play here. So I've well, quit the game. I say quit the game, quit the track, and he's actually been nice enough to add timing gates to each and every one of these tracks. So what we're about to find out is if I'm going the right way, because if I do a lap cross the finish line and it hasn't counted, then it's not the right way. By the sounds of it, and the just the sound that's under my wheels right now, I think the entirety of this turn track is sand. So I'm on not sand tyres, I'm on the mid-soft 80 front and mid-soft 120 rear. I'm a little bit too lazy to back out again and go and change them, so if you do see me having any weird and wild slide outs, just that's the reason. Take it with a little pinch of salt. I'm probably going a lot faster and leaning over a lot further right now if I had the sand ones on. I adore JV sand tracks. I don't know what it is about them. He just has this knack and kind of like talent for making them flow really well. And for whatever reason, every time in the GPs when there was a sand race on, I done exceptionally well. Like I even managed to somehow win the GP of Hyvin Corona Suzuki, for crying out loud. I always feel very, very comfortable on them. I'm guessing it's because you have to get into like some sort of rhythm. You know, you can't just like brute force your way around the track. There's a little bit of finesse to it, I guess is probably the best word. And it does remind me of Supercross in a way. You end up like doubling and tripling your way through the track, it's even around the corners. There's something very satisfying to me about trying to keep your back end on the ground at all times as well in some of the corners to get as much forwards momentum and drive as possible. And I'm a big old fan. He says that they're some of his favourite tracks to make too, which again is a massive W for us. Well, I say us. We're not all me. You know, some people absolutely hate sand tracks. I will say that I hate sand tracks that aren't built in this way, where it's constant rollers. But these ones I'm all for. So did this lap count? This lap did count. So this is the direction you go. I did get a little bit of a hint in one or two of the corners with how I was able to jump into them. I think if I was hitting them the other direction, it'd be a really shallow entry and then a big jump out, which didn't really make much sense to me. Like there, that's one of them. That's a good example. So yeah, this seems to be the direction. I mean, if you're just doing it for fun, like who's really to tell you which way to go? At the end of the day, you might want to go one way, you might want to go to the other. Who knows? But just things like that, being able to triple out the corner, triple again. Like I can scrub this, then double that one, scrub this as well, stay nice and low. Get the bike cranked over in the corner, keep the back wheel on the ground to get as much drive as possible. And then here, you kind of want to keep your back wheel on the ground at all times. I just love it. I don't think there's any other way of wording it other than that. And I really do appreciate all the time and effort that goes into these. I'm not sure how long he's been working on this project for in particular. I don't know if it's something that he started a long time ago and maybe he's been working on bits of it here and there in between all the GP rounds. Maybe it's something that he's started making since the GPs are over now and he's managed to somehow get this done in the last... How long's it been? Like month and a half, 2 months? I really can't remember. Time flies. You know what really throws me off? When the AMA has a 2-week break and I don't know what to do with myself on the weekends. But me and Charlie were literally... I'm recording this on Sunday, by the way, if anyone's curious. Me and Charlie were sat here on the PC last night and be like, well, what do we do without qualifying or the motocross on? I don't know what to do with myself anymore. And it's definitely weird. I'm sure we're not the only ones that are like that. I'm sure there's other people not knowing how to spend their weekends. Obviously, some of you are probably very, very lucky and fortunate enough you can go riding all the time. So, massive W. Us not so much. Although the weather's been great today. I don't think it was too good yesterday. I think it was raining a little bit where I am. But there you go. There's 2 laps of the turn track. Which one of the Supercross tracks do I want to do next? So I'm doing what, in my opinion, is the hardest of the 2 Supercross tracks first, which is the clay one. I'm not sure why. It's just some of the rhythms on this track I really struggled to get. I'm sure there's a couple of quads, but I can't quite stretch out. First one for me is this rhythm section here. So I turn left. I triple in, not triple in, I quad in, oh my god. Then I think you're meant to be able to take off this jump here that I'm on top of and stretch it all the way out to here. However, the furthest I've landed is about here. So it's not fully clean, the back wheel wasn't all the way over it and I did bounce into the corner. And I think it's 100% doable. It's just a case of downsiding that first quad absolutely perfect, but also staying low at the same time to keep your momentum moving forwards. At this rim section I'm not too sure because I think that first bit's meant to be a roller. However, you can also jump off of it. So again, I'm trying to work out what's what here. The rest of the track is pretty straightforward, to be fair. It's just triples and such, although there's a difficult dragon's back that I'm coming up to. You have to get into the right rhythm. Go around to the right, go on, off, lovely. Then round to the left, and just like that, we've already done a lap since I've started talking and recording again. trying to go a little bit too fast there. The whoops themselves, they're really not that difficult. I know that I just crashed in them, but I literally wasn't in a straight line and I was hanging off the back of the bike. Let's try this again. Let's go triple here. I'm just going to double this. Can I turn this into a triple? Oh, yes, I can. Lovely stuff. One thing that's quite impressive about this track to me is, so the 3-foot singles, I mean, if you're not too clued up in Supercross, the usual obstacles are, so you've got like the on-off tables, berms, dragon's back, whoops, and then in terms of single jumps, you have a 3-footer and a 5-footer. So the 3-footers around here, they don't, see, they look quite small because they're only 3 foot tall, but they give you a good amount of lift off of them, like a really good amount of pop to get you up in the air. So if you are trying to triple or quad, and even if you case a little bit, you can like recover mid-section. And if anyone saw the Instagram reel that I posted not that long ago, please follow me on Instagram, by the way. It's at LinzMX. I was working on a Supercross template myself, just like jump faces, and I spent hours and hours and hours trying to just make a 3-footer that flowed really nicely, didn't give you weird bike physics when you hit it too fast. And for the life of me, I struggled so much. Like, it would either be too steep, so you didn't really get much distance, or it'd be too shallow, so you didn't really get any height. And I think JV uses Blender solely for his height maps. I could be mistaken on that, which I think is quite a manual process, but I think Blender is a program he uses every single day for work anyway, so very, very knowledgeable in that department. But this is very long-winded way of me saying the way the jump faces are built is very impressive to me, because they don't look anything amazing in terms of how they would kick you in the air. When you hit them, you get like plenty of lift, and it's really, really satisfying. Like, I wouldn't usually expect to be able to triple out of there from such a short run up, but the bike just kind of makes it up and over no problem. I don't think I'm doing this track too much justice, if I'm honest. I definitely ran some better laps in my warm-up. Let me try and go a little bit try-hard here. So let's enter the whoops nicely, which I have done. Lovely stuff. Downshift to second. We want to triple in here. Then I think we can go quad, or a bit front wheel higher. And then you might even be able to quad all the way out here if you downside it right. So we go double, little soupy triple. God, we're coming off the side of this. I'm going to send it anyway. Oh, that was brave. I got a little bit hung up, so I can only triple out, but we'll take it. That was still quite clean. And then a little double finish line, which actually is a little bit bigger than you expect it to be, just because it's quite like a long landing, like almost like a little tabletop. But absolutely love it. Let me try if I roll this entry. We go double, double, and double. I think you can probably triple there and then single into the corner. And then this rhythm's just nice and straightforward. It's just triple, triple, triple all the way through. Got to make sure you kind of keep your weight forwards a little bit on the face of the jumps. Otherwise you will get that front wheel kicked a little bit higher. But it doesn't take that many laps to kind of get an understanding of how the jumps really work. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Just OEM things. He did say, side note, but extra side note, that the testing that he'd done on this track was most of it was done on the OEM preview bikes, the KTM that was released. I thought I'd be a little bit brave and try the current OEMs that we have, because I think that's what most people will be using. And it feels absolutely fine. You know, like, I've not had any major front end issues. You get the occasional little wobble if you get into the whoops off balance, but I feel like that kind of makes sense. You know, if in real life, if you're going hitting a whoop section and you're sideways going into them, the chances of you making it through to the other end, they're pretty slim, aren't they? Let's see if I want to get a clean lap in, like just overall. And so far, we're half a second up on our times. Go on, off, don't go too fast in the corner. This is what I like. You can't just hit the berms absolutely flat out. And like I was saying earlier, it's a very technical track, but again, it's upscaled like 20% from real life. So imagine if this track was 20% smaller than it is now, how like tight and twisty it would be. I think that would make it to the point where it was unenjoyable, but this is, I think, just the right amount for me. A quad in there, and then triple, single, don't crash, thank you. Oh, there we go. I'm happy with that. That's a clean lap. Lovely stuff. So now we're going to move over to my favourite one. You know, sadly, these tales must come to an end, so we're going to go on to our final track here. You'll be very happy to know, even though the name of this track is Sand SX, and in real life it's quite heavily sandy, at least from what I saw on an AJ Catanzaro vlog, it is not sand traction in-game, which I think is a good move, like a good creative move, because if this whole thing was sand, I just don't think it would flow too nicely. You wouldn't be able to like triple or quad things anywhere. So I think he's made a good decision there to keep it soft soil. So visually, sand, maybe it erodes different. Who knows? I have no idea. Obviously, just playing it by myself in testing, hard to get that sort of a gauge. I'm not sure what it is about this track, but I love it. Like, it's so nice. I definitely, it might just be the layout. It's definitely easier than the clay one is to be able to like hit your normal irons if you're like tripling through rhythm sections. You're just going triple, 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 triple on, triple back down. That is a very nice section, nice and creative there. Round to the left, hit our big old boy finish line jump, and go skirt round to the right. This bit gets a little bit narrow, but then we hit this big old sweeper round to the right. I'll check up a little bit for the double, so we don't jump into the face of the whoop-de-doos. Then we go through those, check up, gonna triple. Oh, and then you can quad. I'm glad I jumped off the side there, or that would have not been pretty. And then you can go triple in. Oh, Jesus. Easy, he says. Not making it look too easy, am I? I'm doing a horrendous job of showing this off. I promise it flows nicely. I promise it does. It's so hard trying to talk and be entertaining at the same time as playing this game. Which, to be fair, I think if you need a better example of like me tryharding and playing better, in the NA live stream for Washougal, I went dead silent for like 15 minutes and I was absolutely barking until my game crashed, of course. Rest in peace, me. Rest in peace, points. But I was having a really good time. But yeah, I promise I can do better. Just going to double this because I've not quite got the drive and I want to be able to kind of recover and then triple here. Then up and over that. I'm going to check up a little bit because I did overjump it last time. And now we should be able to get into a kind of like a reset, get into a bit of a flow again. If you do make a major mistake in Supercross, a lot of the time I feel like it is better if you just check up and roll a jump to get back into a flow rather than keep trying to like re-hit things over and over again. So then we've come out wide, we can go triple in. I've jumped off the side again. And then quad. Oh, it's fine, we're still surviving. And then triple this. And then quad again. I know I'm probably going to get some hate saying that that's a quad, but in my eyes it is. Some of you may disagree. That's okay. We're all allowed opinions. We're all different humans. I think it's probably like a 50-50 split, to be fair, on if people think that's a triple or a quad. I've had this argument on the channel many times. People are so passionate about it. I personally don't care at the end of the day. I can see it from both sides. You can treat it as it's 3 obstacles because it's a single, a table, and a single. Or you can treat it as a quad because it's basically the length of 4 jumps. I mean, the table is the length of 2 singles. So that's my logic to it. And I think even in like the real Supercross, I think they have a little bit of a debate on the live streams about what they want to call it as well. Because it's odd, because if you step over the table and you downside the table, is that a triple or is that just a double? You know, there's lots and lots of back and forths. But please do not start a war in the comments again. I've had this on many videos. I shouldn't have even brought it up in the first place. But forget I said anything at all. I said nothing. My lips are sealed. You heard nothing from me. Oh, I've overjumped that a little bit. Can we still get it? We can. That was clean. I actually stayed on the track that time. Oh, and again. Quad out. Yes. Or quad up, as Casper K and the crew would say. Downsided that, lovely. A little bit difficult to get the bike straightened up for these whoops because it's right out of the exit of that corner. Let me try the inside in the sand here. I've not done that yet. That was fine. Little double. Round to the right, hit this triple here. That gives me like 20, I think it's like 16 or something, Oakland vibes, where there was just back-to-back corners. It was like 180 triple, 180 triple, 180. Very, very satisfying to hit. Up and over that. Oh, I come up a little bit short. Oh, there goes my perfect lap. I think we'll do one more. Do one more. I want to try and get a really, really clean one. Although I feel like now I've put all this pressure on myself to get a clean one, it's probably going to go horrifically. But wish me luck. Let's see what lap time we can get. Go round to the right. Scrub. Oh, I couldn't really scrub that a little bit. The bike got stood up a tiny bit. We're not great through the whoops. Haven't got enough speed. Oh, I do. That's actually a really nice downside. Round to the quad. Oh, front end. We go triple again. Then quad again. It's looking good so far. Right, I'm going to try and get the bike straightened up. Ooh, just realised there's 2 whoop sections on this track. I don't know why it's just clicked until now. I feel like I forget where I've been by the time I get to the finish line. Through the sand section, which is the only sandy traction part of the sand track. Triple into this corner, round to the left. Triple again. Going to check up a little bit because I OJ'd it last time. Oh, please don't give me a front end tuck. Oh, God, this isn't going to go well. I'm going to have to double this. And then can I triple from there? Oh, I can. Double, triple. See, that really wasn't even that slow. Actually gained a little bit of time going into the corner because I stayed low and managed to accelerate out of it. So there you go. that is 4 out of the 5 tracks on this entire compound. Directly in front of me, we've got some like go-kart stuff, which I'm sure you could attempt on the Supermoto bikes. It does not ride well at all on the motocross bikes. For any of you guys that have tried doing bike life or going fast around asphalt tracks, these bikes do not like it. They slide out straight away, but it's more of a bonus than anything. And if anything else, it just adds to the visuals of the place as a whole. I'm a very, very happy man. I love that JV's working on these little projects on the side outside of official series. Thank you very much to the man himself for giving me the privilege of getting this a day early. This is going up on the shop, I believe, on Monday. So if you're one of the Americans that stays up until 3, 4 a.m. to watch my videos, go to sleep. I'm sure by the time you wake up, it will be out. For the Europeans that are watching this first thing in the morning before you go to work or school, wherever it may be, hopefully by the time you get home it'll be ready to go as well. I hope you've enjoyed. As always, if you could drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, I'd greatly appreciate it. I can't really think of much else other than having a lovely day. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.